Hello everybody and welcome to the stream. Welcome. Just looking at the charts. We're going to take a look at different things of the chart. We're going to look at a lot of interesting stuff. Fibonacci levels, EMAs, money flow index, RSI, MACDs, a lot of stuff. If you're new to the stream, like and subscribe to the channel. It's totally free. Doesn't take much of your time, just a few seconds. We're gonna go deep down into the rabbit hole and see what's happening. We'll be going down as low as a 1 minute chart and looking at the different structures out here and the EMAs and what is the 1 minute doing. We're gonna be looking at the bullish, bearish, everything in between. So yeah, hope you enjoy the stream. Don't hesitate to ask any questions if you have any. Post your comments or have any suggestions on the coins that you want me to do TA on. Feel free. Now let's start with the first thing first. Dollar. Dollar is always king. It's pretty hard for the dollar to go down, but it can go down. It may go down eventually, but the dollar is looking very strong. Even with this pullback down to the 105, I mean, it's still looking strong. This is on the weekly time frame. If the weekly closes like this or pulls up a bit more, then that would be an indication of strength. At the moment, we just retraced to where we were in August. We haven't broken down the 50 EMA on the weekly, unlike Bitcoin. Let's go to a lower time frame, the daily. Daily broken down, that isn't doing good. We're just at last week's low. We are resting on the 200 EMA. Essentially, if this was something I would trade, I would say we have 3 hits at the top. We are below the 50 EMA. I would wait for the retrace to the 50 and then sell again. So I would expect the dollar to go back to 109 at least. Look at the dollar. I mean, it's been on a parabolic rise. I mean, how far can we go? Years and years. This is a 20-year high. We were at the bottoms. We were down at 80. I don't know if we were ever lower than that, but yeah. Could this be a pullback for an explosion upwards? It's very hard to say because the markets are very unstable nowadays. I mean, some news comes out, whether it's true or false. Like yesterday, the markets were a bit in fear because of the news that we got about a missile hitting Poland. And everyone thought it was Russian and everyone was talking, but in the end it was just friendly fire, if you want to call it that. Now looking at Bitcoin. Let's go to Bitcoin. The question that I have in my head, and I'm sure a lot of people have the same question: will we hold? Will we hold this zone? Will we be able to push up? What are we forming over here? It's very clear. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it all around and you can see it clearly. You don't need anyone to tell you this. We're forming, you can call it a bearish pennant. You can call it a bear flag. They're more or less the same things. And the measured move, I mean, probably will hit some targets that I've mentioned before in this channel. A breakout of this, say if we broke out today, could take us down to the 1070. Everyone's talking about the 10K region, 10 to 13K, 10 to 14.5. I'm not sure. I don't know. We may get there. This is, even on the 1 minute, this would look bearish. I mean, we had a bearish candle. We had a candle coming up, not being able to follow through and breaking above. We stayed down here, daily resistance around 17.6. Then we came down, formed another resistance at 17,052. And at the moment, we have formed another resistance, possibly at 16,645 if we close lower. Then that will be our resistance, our daily resistance. These lines you see over here going parallel, disregard these descending trend lines and this one for the moment. These lines are just Fibonacci channels, and as you can see, we broken down, we kind of got support, came up, support, broken down. Now it's our resistance, wicked once, kissed once, rejected. So if this was on a smaller time frame, 15 minute or something, it would be very easy to see the move coming very soon, but this is on the daily time frame. Now a level to watch for at the moment is around 15.9, because if you break 15.9, essentially you will be breaking the bear flag to the downside. And if you break the bear flag to the downside, then that was the measured move that I showed you. It won't happen in one candle. We may come to 13, 14, bounce, do something like this, retest the bear flag, and come back down again. No one knows, but that is a bearish scenario. The bullish scenario is, I'll show you what I'm looking at. The bullish scenario. Bullish scenario, maybe on the 4 hourly we can find something bullish. Yeah, 4 hourly and 1 hourly will give you some bullishness. We have an ascending support. So if you were to trade short, I would wait to get here to this support. Could we break up? Could we break down? Everyone's wondering that. What's going to happen now? The price level for this would be at 15,900. Again, the bottom of that bearish pennant, bearish flag. I mean, let's look at the volume. Volume should tell us something. Volume, oh my god, volume is terrible in the 4 hourly. Look at that. That's close to nothing, but that usually happens in a tight range. So if you pull up Bollinger Bands or even the ATR, you'll see that we're quite low on that. That means we are coiling up for an expected breakout or breakdown, melt up or melt down. I wouldn't say that we can't go to 18K. It's very much possible. 18K is a beautiful zone for me to look for another trade, or if you want to go long, you are essentially holding higher low, and higher low, and maybe now a higher low. If we break the 16,100 and start opening and closing candles below that, then you would say that we are breaking the trend on a smaller time frame, that is a 4 hourly, slowly breaking the trend. And we now, for the moment, we are forming lower highs. We had a high, lower high, and a lower high. But that's what happens in bearish pennants. You have higher lows and lower highs. I mean, it could be anything. No one knows for sure where Bitcoin is going. All we can do is look at probabilities and points at the chart where we would think of going long or going short. Now looking at this from this high over here, to that high, we had on the RSI, I'll show you what I was looking at the other day. We formed hidden bearish div, and that played out. Could it still continue playing out? We don't know, but we can only do is use indicators and see what's happening. Now let's try and see some indicators over here and try to figure out what's happening. I like to look at indicators. The money flow index tells you the money that's flowing in and out of the chart. Money flow index over here, we had a low, no bullish divergence. Over here we had a a high, lower high. Price action had a high, high. Yep, this is bearish div, but this bearish div, usually in a downtrend you have hidden bearish div, not bearish div. Let's look at ATR, average true range. ATR tells you that the tightness of the candles, the tightness of the range. So the lower the ATR, that's a trick to how do you expect higher moves. You look at the ATR. This is what I do. I look at the ATR. The lower the ATR gets, the more I'm expecting a move to happen soon. How soon? That's something else. But at the moment, our ATR is approaching our 14th November lows, which isn't very low, but it is low. And what do I do with ATR? I go back, and I go back at the chart, and I look. When were we here the last time? We were here on the 13th of November. What did we get? We got a dump. ATR doesn't tell you direction, just tells you the aggressiveness or possibility of a big move coming soon. So I want to show you, this is on the hourly. Another technique I use is I look for the lowest points of ATR, lower than what I am on today. So this was 133. Oh yeah, this was a big move here. We were at 70. ATR was at 70 on the 6th of November. 6th of November, here we are. And this gave us this continuation of this big dump from 21, which continued all the way to 15K. So that's how you use ATR to project that a big move is coming. How big, how soon, that's another question to be answered. Another thing I like to use is RSVVB. RSVVB is done by Donovan Wall. RSVVB by Donovan Wall. It's also a volatility indicator, or you like to call it the caterpillar. We are coiling up on the hourly. Look at that. So you go and you measure out. The last time we were like this, before we got the dump, we took the ruler to measure. We were at 4%. What are we on today? Let's measure the width of the caterpillar. We're at 4%. We might be dumping very soon. It's quite coiled up, but we've been more coiled up before. We've been at 2% or 1 point something percent. Here we were at 1.7. So we can get tighter and tighter and tighter. And after that, then you get an explosion, expansion, either to the upside or like here, look at this big expansion to the downside. So you can add this to your trading, and you can look at RSVVB, and at the moment you are at the lower range. You are below the median line, and you are at the lower range of the ATR, trying to hold. This is on the hourly. So if you're doing these things, stick to one time frame. If you're going to look at ATR and these things in the 4 hourly, stick on the 4 hourly. On the daily, stick on the daily. Let's look at ATR on the RSVB on the daily. We were coiling up for a long time. We were getting tighter and tighter after 25K, I believe. After this, we were keeping tight. And this is on the daily, so the measurement would be different. What causes this drop was when ATR was at 13.45. ATR is the distance between the candles. So it's measuring the difference of the move of the candles. So how is the separation of the candles? So if your candles are slightly separated, really tight, like they're not moving much, then you get a very tight coiling up RSVB. But when you have a big expansion, you get a wider also the ATR. Sorry, I was talking about the ATR. The number for the ATR would be lower, as over here to be quite low, as the separation of the candles were very minute. I mean, the pumps and the pullbacks were small. Here you might see a spike in ATR. Some people use ATR for stop loss. They measure, they look at Bitcoin on the 4-hourly, they take a trade, then I say, I'm gonna put my stop at 2%, 2 times ATR or 1 time ATR from the moment I enter the trade. So if I go to ATR, this is just an example. ATR. Okay, I'm gonna enter a trade now. Example, I was gonna enter a trade up here. Example, ATR. Let's bring it down so I can read the ATR at this point. ATR was at 149. You can see it here, 149. So I'm gonna put my stop loss at 2 ATR. So that's 149 times 2. So if I'm going short, my stop loss will be 149 times 2, almost around $298 above my entry price. So if my entry price was 16,700, my stop loss would be 16,980 or 998. So that's how you use ATR. That's a tool of using. You could decide on your stop loss, because essentially it's telling you the volatility of the candles. You could do that. What is Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin is just messing around. If you go to the higher time frames and you look at Bitcoin, it doesn't look like it's done much. When you look at some stuff, let me explain. If you go on the 4-hourly and you look at Bitcoin, you can just say we are within a range. We are kind of forming a range, a descending wedge, or a bearish pennant. Are we going to continue higher and form a wedge? It's not descending, it's not ascending, it's a pennant. It's more of a pennant. Where are we in terms of our fixed range volume profile? Let's look at that. Fixed range volume profile of this entire down range from here to here. Let's turn off this other indicator. Our 50 EMA on the 4-hourly comes, or put the 200 EMA there. The 1 hour will show the 200 is at the value area high. So if even Bitcoin pumps to 17.2, 17.3, I would expect a reaction. My Fibonacci retracement from low to high will bring my golden pocket just around that region at the 200 EMA. So over here, same as Quant a few days ago, 2 days ago, when I posted the trade that I was going to take, I showed you we had the 200, we had the golden pocket, and in Quant we had the point of control. But over here we have the value area high, value area high, value area low, point of control. Point of control is where most of the trades took place. For this range, you can see a lot of trades took place here. Value area high, value area low is where 75% of the trades have taken place. So if price goes back there, it will instigate a lot of people to want to take trades. It will make people want to FOMO into trades. Our average daily range today for Bitcoin is around 2,543 pips, or you can say dollars in the case of Bitcoin. So we may move 2,500 up or 2,500 down, or we could even exceed it. We've exceeded the average daily range several times, average weekly range and average monthly range. So I see that the average daily range, so if Bitcoin wants to do one average daily range, it can go 2,500 up or 2,500 down, which would bring us coincidentally down to that 14, 13K region. We are hitting lows on Bitcoin. We went up today. We exceeded the POC, but we came back down. Now, by doing that, we got rejected at the POC. I would say that Bitcoin can come to the value area low. Now let me take a fib retracement to know how low can we go, or where can we get a slight bounce, or where should be my take profit one. From the swing low to the swing high, actually to this swing high, the value area high, we are at the 0.5 fib, which is a good bouncing area. You can see Bitcoin is trying to bounce, but if we come down, we have the 0.618 and the value area low, not very far from each other. So down here we have a golden pocket next to this value area low, which I'll call Val, and up here value area high, which I'll call Vah, we have another golden pocket. So this is your range basically. If you're at the low, it's a good point to buy. Not financial advice, I'm just telling you technical analysis of how things are done or how things are perceived by other traders, and to increase the probabilities of your trade. Now we have a fib channel coming down here at around 13k I showed you the other day, and if Bitcoin moves its daily average range 2,500, we would be coming to this region. So just be aware of that. Now let's skip to the DXY. What is the dollar index doing? The dollar index has been struggling. It's been struggling to get above the 106.358. We're just making this our new point of control. So if you take a fixed range volume profile tool and you look at that, our POC will be right here in the middle. Why won't it load for the dollar? Maybe because the DXY is not tradable. So let's look at that. Nothing. Let's go to DXY on capital.com because you can trade it over there. DXY, there we go. Let's pull a fixed range volume profile tool. There you go. I told you the POC will be right over there. 105.936. Now the whole range, same. So the DXY essentially is struggling to get up here. But if the DXY wants to make a liquidity run to these shaded areas, to be honest, I see these green vectors closer to the DXY than these red vectors up here at 108. So what I'm saying on the hourly, the 104 looks closer than the 108. The traditionals, the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq, are red so far. So they are pulling down a bit today. Will they continue for the rest of the day? If they continue and the Dow Jones does the same, then we may see some more downside. We have some important news coming out today. I believe it's the CPI. Let's see. Is it the unemployment? Is it the CPI? We have FOMC member, Mr. speaking. We have the unemployment claims, Philly Fed manufacturing index, and we have for the GBP, British pound, we have some important news for the Australian dollar. But I think these unemployment and Philly manufacturing will have an impact. So if the actual is less than the forecast, which is 228, which tells you the unemployment claims that the US has, people claiming benefits for unemployment. If it's less than this, then it's good for the dollar. If we get less than 228,000, it's good for the dollar. Philly manufacturing index, if actual is greater, then it's good for. If we're greater than -6, it's good. It's a leading indicator of economic health. Businesses react quickly to market conditions and change in their sentiment. Can be an early signal of future economic activities such as spending, hiring, and investment. Survey of about 250 manufacturers in the Philadelphia Federal Reserve District, which asked respondents to rate the relative level of general business conditions. So it's basically sentiment of the businesses. So the DXY might pull something if things are good. SPY closed red yesterday. On the daily, I believe SPY closed red. Yeah. We didn't form new lows, but we closed red. Now let's go to Solana. I had this green box for days. We're still at the lows of the green box. Usually if you're testing support so many times, it shows that you might break. We are in some sort of bearish pennant. Volume is dying out on the daily. On the 4-hourly, if we pull up indicators like the RSI, try and see if we have any bearish div, bullish div. Solana. Low, high, low. Nothing here. We had a high over here. I'll show you something. We had a high over here, and we had a lower high over here, which gave a small sell-off. But now if you take this whole thing, we're forming higher highs, slightly higher highs, and lower highs over here. That's hidden bearish div. That's a continuation to the downside. That's what my indicator is saying. I'm not telling you that's going to happen, but that's my indicator. That's what the indicator is saying. Ethereum, on the other hand, there was good trading opportunity today. Rejection of the POC, point of control. We had the 50 EMA slightly coming in. So rejection at the point of control. And I can tell you that's above the 0.5 fib. Let's see. Yeah, that was, no, actually this wasn't, this, yeah, it was above the 0.5 fib. But the other day, what did we get? We got a nice rejection, 50 EMA cloud, and golden pocket. Do we have any divs for Ethereum? Probably a bullish div. Higher lows, no. Over here we had something. If you look here, this is how you look at it. We had a low over here in price, and we came down, formed a lower low. Over here in the RSI we had a low. Where is it? Over here. And we came and we formed, sorry, I need to look at the lows. What am I doing, man? Low, lower low, nothing here. No bullish div, no bearish div. You could find bearish div between this point over here, or even this, from here to there. Lower highs, higher highs. Between this, you could take it from here, higher high, lower high, and over here it's a high and a higher high. So we did have hidden bearish div. We still pumped a bit, but went under. So Ethereum, I'll give you some targets. The 1276 zone, I've given you that for a long time. It's a well-respected zone. I mean, you could have made several times, of course with a stop loss, because sometimes we could just rip through it with a strong bullish candle. But yeah, if you take the trade and you put a stop loss, then you could be okay. To the downside, Ethereum, sorry, I have 994 is my first target. If we go down, if we break down this 1073, which is last week's low. We have these green shaded areas. These are just vector zones of liquidity. So just be aware of that. These go back, I believe, to 2020. We were here. Yeah, 2020. So just be careful. Ethereum might come to take that liquidity for the traders that bought and didn't pay themselves. Now, let's go to another chart. Solana is another currency I like trading. We haven't retested the 50 yet, but we're very close from it. And we had between this high and this high, this high and this high, that was hidden bearish div. And we had a pullback, pumped a bit. It didn't play out so nicely, but over here we had a high and we formed lower highs, and over here we had a high and lower highs. So nothing, no bearish div. Oh, I didn't give you targets for Solana. I have a target at $12. $12.318 is my first target, followed by 9.14, which we already hit, followed by 8.307. So again, fixed range volume profile for Solana. We can see that we are at the point of control by just looking at it, and we're trying to maintain it. A break of the point of control is bearish, support above is bullish, but as you can see, sometimes you get something like this, and you come down, a break above it, a candle opened and closed above it, and we broke down. So that's very possible to happen again. Now if I go to the total market cap, total 3, this is just the altcoins without Bitcoin or Ethereum, but without Ethereum, sorry, the altcoins. So you can look at the market cap of the altcoins and judge it for yourself. Is money coming in, going out? We're still at the lows. We're looking red for the day in some sort of maybe a descending triangle will play out at the end. But we could reverse up and take this liquidity. So there is a chance that we pump up for the total 3 and come all the way to the 200. We had hidden bearish div between this high and this high and this high and that high. That was hidden bearish div, and we sold off. Dogecoin, let's see if it has any bullish div. Dogecoin on the 4-hourly. Yeah, it looks like we may be having some sort of bullish div over here on the 4-hour. Let's look at the 1-hour chart. 1-hour chart. 1-hour chart. Interesting stuff. We had a... Did we have a bullish div? No. Sorry. I thought we had something. Now another coin I like trading is QUANT. So let's go to QUANT, QNT, and look what's happening in QUANT. We are retracing to the 0.5 fib. Fibonacci retracement for the high. I gave you a trade of Quant. Hope some people took it because it made money. It was a good drop. It was right over here. So in trading, you try to find confluences. Starters, if you're in a range, you pull up a fixed range volume profile to see where's your point of control, value area high, value area low. Once you have that, you look at your moving averages. Okay, this was yesterday. I had the 200 EMA coming down. It was close to the point of control. In addition, I had a Fibonacci retracement from this wick high. I pulled it to the down. I set it to the low. Golden pocket right there. So I updated my people, my subscribers, and I said, hey, we are right over here. We weren't at 120. I got it a bit late. We were at 118.2, I think. We are over here. We got rejected from here nicely. And I expect some more downside. Not financial advice, but you could take it. And look what happened. 118 over here. Let's look at 118.24. Somewhere here, I'm not sure, but somewhere here, probably a bit higher. But say from here to there, that was a 5% move with 20x leverage, that's 100. So yeah, you need to just be aware. Now we came down yesterday. We haven't broken the bullish structure essentially until we break the 112. We are holding, we are forming higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. Look at that. And I showed you more than one chart. You see this line, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. And you could take it like that if you want, or like that, or even you could do it this way. We've broken down below it. Now we are testing it. Are we gonna close, or is this just a bearish retest before continuation to the downside? We have the same pattern over here. A bearish pennant or a bull flag. So just be aware of that, be careful. We had a double top formation. That's another thing that made me think of taking this trade. So a double top formation, I would measure it from the lower side to the neckline. I wouldn't take it from the high here because this is higher. I take it from the shorter one, from the shorter shoulder to the neckline, which is here. And then you take it and you take this trend line and you put it at the neckline to see the targeted area. So my target could be at around 110. For my short, my stop was hit on QNT earlier on today. I had my stops in profit, so I didn't want to take the chance. QNT came up somewhere around here and it stopped me in profit. Maybe it was around here, I can't remember, but it was not very close to my entry and not too far, but just over there. A small profit. Profit is profit. I was just checking. Sometimes I have charting on different charts of the same asset, USDT, USD. So I just keep my eyes open. So this 15-minute candle should try and close above here and open another one and maybe start creeping up. Now I can see something in the chart. I can see something. We do have some sort of parallel channel. I don't know, I see these things sometimes. We have a touch here, touch here, touch here. Could we have a touch here again? But we have resistance. I showed you the value area high, or the POC value, and the the golden pocket zone. We are below the POC, so our target for this wouldn't be unrealistic to say you would expect us to come to the 110 zone. the 110 zone. Wait a minute. See, that's when you find confluence, probably. Your mind is just working. Actually, your mind is jogging when you're doing this. It's fun. Neckline. Look at my zone. I said it could come to the 110. The 110 zone would be at the value area low of this range. And a rejection from a POC usually takes you to the value area low. It could take you. And a bounce from value area low, you go to POC. Same with value area high. Rejection, you go to POC. You bounce from it. Good. If you can't, you're going to go down. If you can't break them up, you smash them down. Yep, that's all my TA for today. Hope you liked it. Smash the likes. Subscribe to the channel. Share the channel. Share the content. Help other traders. This is free education. Help other traders benefit from this. Let's all make money. Let's help each other make money. Let's help each other make money. Alright, that's all for now. More trades. I'm out. Thanks for passing by.